Today, we're going to be matching up Robert Whittaker against every ranked light heavyweight on the UFC roster. And man, this guy's talking about moving up to light heavyweight for a full-time move in the future. And I understand it, man. He's a former champ of middleweight. How can we forget? And he's honestly farther than ever away from the title picture now. So I understand the move. But man, as a fan of Whittaker, and if you're a normal human being walking the earth, you probably don't want to see him get chinned out cold. And at light heavyweight, I feel like the chances of that go up. But man, after looking at these ranked opponents for him and about to do this list here and break it down, I think that he has a better chance than people think for this move. And the tiers for this are going to be, if an opponent can beat Whittaker, I just straight up think they beat him. If it's a 50-50 close fight, could go either way. If an opponent kind of just relies on that KO threat. And below all, if I just think that Whittaker beats him, in my opinion, okay? Getting into the first one we got, we're going to start with number 15 here. Alonzo Menifield. I'm sorry, brother. I think Whittaker beats him, and I love this. Yes, give me more of these. Give me more of these matchups for Whittaker, okay? Alonzo Menifield is one of these fighters, man, where he's not bad. He's actually, he's got all the fundamentals and a half down. And I feel like, listen, if he was at like a lightweight or a welterweight, I'm sorry, he would not be ranked. But he's decent enough and powerful enough and solid enough combinations. And I'm getting all crafty here, breaking down fucking Alonzo Menifield. So the point is, I think that Menifield in any other division, I just don't know if he would be ranked. I'm saying all this because I don't know what Menifield has in his game that I think Whittaker just doesn't have the advantage over him, besides just pure power. Obviously, Menifield is going to get fucking harder, but I think Whittaker would just be too fast, too elusive on the back foot, and then pumping the bloody jab and stealing away these rounds. And listen, Menifield hits fucking hard, but I don't think it's super hard for the division. I don't think it's anything crazy. I don't think he'd even be fast enough or ruthless enough or good enough at dictating the pace and pressure of the fight to where I think Whittaker would control where the fight goes. I think he would do a good job on the back foot and just steal away these rounds, bro. I'm going with Whittaker. I think he could out-wrestle him, out-strike him, and avoid getting KO'd. Moving on now to number 14, Zhang Minyang. All right. I gotta hesitate here because Johnny Walker just fucking beat him. So what am I gonna do with the former champ Robert Whittaker? I'm gonna say Zhang Minyang. Listen, I think he's gonna bounce back with a few more UFC wins. Obviously, he's still really young. I think this guy's gonna maintain his spot around the rankings for the next few years. So I'm not just gonna write off Zhang, but he does have that power. He's always gonna have that power. There's a reason why he was getting first round KO after KO after KO in a row to get to the opportunity of Walker. He did the literal final boss. You make it all the way to the end of the Pokemon tournament and you end up with, what do they call it, like the Coliseum champion or some shit. It's Johnny fucking Walker, okay? But Zhang Minyang just wasn't enough. So obviously I feel like Robert Whittaker on paper is a much higher level of competition than that. So I'm going to put Zhang Minyang in the KO threat. I feel like when Zhang goes up against a high level enough competition, especially in someone as fast and high level fight IQ and is as experienced and is just as well-rounded, everything you need, except he can be a bit chinny at times to where I feel like Whittaker on paper should be able to just 30-27 Zhang Minyang, be able to out-wrestle him, be able to outstrike him, be able to avoid getting KO'd. But in general, I think that Whittaker should win, but Zhang does have that KO threat to where I'd be scared. I'd be scared watching it, but I would trust in Whittaker to be the favorite. Moving on now to number 13, Nikita Krylov. I think Whittaker beats him. Now, don't get me wrong, Krylov is kind of just held back by his chin. He just got past Blachowicz, and I think Blachowicz is a guy that hits hard, but I feel like he wasn't throwing that much and was making some poor choices in that fight, being a bit too simplistic, and obviously he got KO'd. So Krylov bounced back with a win. Krylov is good. Krylov is one of these guys where I preach, man, on paper, he's one of the most well-rounded athletes for light heavyweight. He's fucking good, but the chin has really held him back. And I guess that might be a thing that you may be able to say about Whittaker. So I guess Coffin Baby meets Coffin Baby here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to go with the second Coffin Baby. I'm going with the lighter man skill, man. I would think that Whittaker's able to just beat him. I obviously think Krylov would just be the bigger man, and Krylov has that KO threat. He was able to knock out Blachowicz in the last 10 seconds. So that threat, obviously I could put him in the KO threat. But I just think that in a tit-for-tat battle, I just think in a skill-for-skill battle, I think Whittaker would just be too good. And I'm going to put him in the tier where I think that Krylov obviously could present a lot of problems. I think the size discrepancy might be a bit apparent there, but I think that Whittaker might fit the mold at light heavyweight better than people think. And I don't think Krylov is going to be fast enough or explosive enough. I think that Krylov in his own right has a hard time at times getting his offense really going or relies too much on the wrestling at times or whatever. So at the end of the day, I think Whittaker would be able to hold his own, dude. I think Whittaker beats Krylov. Moving on now to Johnny Walker. I'm putting Johnny Walker in the has a KO threat. I could see Johnny Walker slipping onto a banana peel and just accidentally KO and Robert Whittaker any fucking day of the week, bro. Johnny Walker, this goofy goober, bro. I can't take him seriously, but listen, here we go. I'm going to get crafty with that. I do respect him as an athlete. I know that he has the ability to go out there and KO anybody. It's just that most of the time, he's the one getting fucking KO'd. And brutally, man. He's the one falling backwards. It's insane, man. But even though he can be goofy, even though he is the meme that we all love to just watch on repeat, I do think that he's able to KO Whittaker. Like, I wouldn't bet on it. Like, I would say he'd be like a 2-1 underdog. Like, Whittaker should win. Like, imagine this was a light heavyweight debut, okay? You want to talk about Coffin Baby versus Coffin Baby. Holy fuck. I can see Whittaker just KOing him, bro. Like, we've seen one Robert Whittaker knockout in what, every like 5 to 10 years? It's like a literal shooting star when you look out your window. Mommy, look, it's a fucking Robert Whittaker knockout. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of the rarity of it, but I literally think that Whittaker would be able to have the hands of steel necessary for fucking the chinness of Johnny Walker. Like, I feel like Johnny Walker could get blown away by a gust of wind, but also, like, he can deal the damage in his own right. Is Walker really just gonna be able to get it together, show that he has the heavier man skill, baby, and is gonna stomp his feet to the ring and KO Whittaker, or would Whittaker just be too much? I think Whittaker would beat him, honestly. I think Whittaker should be a favorite, but Walker does have that KO threat. Like, he should and could maybe win, but I trust in Whittaker to just be the better, more polished fighter. Whittaker is someone that was worthy of being a champion in a harder division to win the goddamn belt. Maybe not, because, you know, light heavyweight has DC and Jones and Pereira, so maybe not, but you get my point. I think that Whittaker would beat him, but Johnny Walker still has the KO threat. Moving on now to number 11 and Aleksander Rakic. I think that Whittaker beats him, bro. I don't know if I'm necessarily crazy. Like, Rakic obviously hits hard. He's got a nice leg kick game, and he can be agile and aggressive enough to kind of keep Whittaker on his toes, and I could see Rakic just kind of implementing the heavier pressure and really just having just a massive height and reach advantage and getting some kind of KO over Whittaker. But I feel like Rakic in his past 2 fights, man, I get it that he's facing very elite competition, or even Murzakanov on the rise. Like, he's facing really good guys or guys that hit really fucking hard, but they're just going to have it his way with them. Like, it just doesn't seem like the Rakic of old. And I could just see, like, if I scroll down my phone tomorrow and it's like Rakic versus Whittaker booked for light heavyweight debut, I wouldn't exactly be, like, shaken in fear over, like, oh my God, Whittaker, this is a terrible, terrible fucking matchup for him. You know what I mean? I actually think it's pretty realistic. It's pretty fair. I mean, Rakic is ranked number, what is it? Fuck, I just said it. It's number 11 anyways. I just said it, and I gotta still read it anyways, okay? Gotta check on my chromosomes like I'm Dashy Games. Why did I gotta cook Dashy like that? I'm sorry, okay? My point is, I think that Rakic definitely can present problems in his own right. He is a long, rangy striker. He definitely has a good amount of pop behind his shots, but I think Whittaker would just be too much, bro. I think Whittaker would be able to avoid getting TKO'd and eventually just control the pace, slow down Rakic, beat him up, land nice to the body. I don't think he would, like, be able to KO him like a Prochazka or Murzakanov did, but I think he would be able to beat him to a decision and just out tip or tap him, kind of like a Big Ank did. You know what I'm saying? Moving on up next to number 10. We're getting to the bigger boys, bro. Dominick Reyes here. I'm going to put him in the KO threat, obviously. Like, Dominick Reyes, I could just so clearly, some straight right down the middle, just taking out Whittaker, and we're all just crying, but we're also crying tears of joy because we all love when Reyes wins. But, man, it really sucks to see Whittaker lose, but I just feel like Reyes would just hit too fucking hard. He has good boxing. He has good enough takedown defense to keep the fight standing, and I feel like he hits fucking hard enough to be able to KO Whittaker. And I feel like, again, Reyes would just be the bigger dude, man. You know what I mean? I think that Whittaker should win, but I could just really see Reyes just getting some crazy fucking knockout. Like, in round 1, too. So, you know what? I think Whittaker would only be, like, a slight favorite. This might be more to a pick'em fucking odds here. Like, and Reyes is very beatable in his own right. Reyes can get caught, but I don't think Whittaker has the kind of power that's going to be able to really stop Reyes. I mean, that's up to a Prochazka. That's up to an Ulberg. Don't get me wrong. Ulberg against certain opponents can hit like a fucking pillow, but most of Ulberg's wins in the UFC are by KO. You know what I'm saying? So, overall, these guys that are Chin and Reyes, they just hit way harder than Whittaker does. Whittaker, I feel like, would just have to survive each round while just doing the better offense and just trying to get going in that regard. But I feel like just, like, he wouldn't even be able to really, I feel like, officially out-wrestle him. He'd have to keep it standing and banging, and that's a long time to go with Reyes, man, for Whittaker kind of already being a bit chinny as it is. So I would say that Whittaker could win, but it's kind of a scary matchup for him considering the size and power of Reyes, okay? Moving on to number 9, Bogdan Guskov. I think Guskov has the KO threat, but I'm more confident in Whittaker to get this one done. I think that Guskov can kind of take a while to get his offense going sometimes. He can be a bit of a slow starter sometimes. And I think that I could see Whittaker just taking the early goings of the fight. And as long as he's able to survive the storm in the later rounds, round 2, round 3, I think that Whittaker would be fast enough, would be efficient enough with everything he does. And I think that he'd be able to just, in a striking battle, obviously worry about the knockout power from Guskov, because Guskov hits really fucking hard, man. But again, he just kind of has that low guard. He can be hittable in his own right. He can take a while to kind of get going. He can be a bit slow at times. And I think Guskov's pretty good. He's worthy of being in the top 10, but he can also be a bit simplistic. He's kind of a bit more on the one-dimensional side of things. Like what he does extremely well. And I definitely think he could fucking knock out Whittaker, like, pretty efficiently in like round 1 up to second number 1 until 459. You know what I mean? But overall, I think Whittaker could just be too much here. Like, it's kind of 50-50 in my mind, but not 50-50 enough to put it in the 50-50 tier. I'm literally going to foam at the mouth if I say that number again. Overall, dude, I'm going to say that Guskov's pretty good, but I think a bit too simplistic and a bit too slow for Whittaker here. You know what I mean? I rate Whittaker, dude. I'm sorry. I'm going to say that Guskov has the KO threat. Moving on to number 8 here, Volkan Oezdemir. And listen, I definitely would be scared for Whittaker in this matchup. I would think Whittaker would beat Oezdemir, but Oezdemir, I'm going to put him in the KO threat tier because he definitely, he's able to KO Walker. He's able to KO Menifield, guys who definitely hit harder and are more accustomed to the weight class than a Robert Whittaker. And yet Oezdemir is able to take him out in round 1. So I think Oezdemir definitely is a bit faster for the weight class than people think. I think that he has good timing and good pop behind his shots. And man, dude, he might not have the exact craziest reach in the world or anything like that, but he finds the ways to get through, push you against the fence, and just knock you the fuck out. So Oezdemir, I definitely could see him just getting around 1 KO over Whittaker. I'm putting him in the KO threat tier, but I just think skill-wise, it's a fight that Whittaker should win. If I wasn't so worried about the chin, and you know what, hopefully even moving up to 205 would make the chin even better. Maybe the weight cut's not as damaging. Regardless of that, I still feel like Whittaker should win. Just skill for skill on paper, like it's prime Anthony Smith. Like he should be able to win this one, but I definitely am worried for it, okay? Moving on to number 7, Jamahal Hill. I'm sorry, but Whittaker beats him. This is like a perfect top 7 matchup for Whittaker to just make his way through, slime him on in, okay? Like that Justin Gaethje meme. And I feel like in a matchup to where I think that Oezdemir has a better chance to KO him. And we're going to get to Murzakanov after this spoiler, but I think Murzakanov has a way better chance to fucking KO Whittaker. Jamahal Hill is that weird in between, but he's ranked in the top 7. He's still a former champion, where I think it's a great matchup for Whittaker to just show off that lighter man skill, okay? Jamahal Hill is someone who, listen, I picked him in the past when I probably shouldn't have. Like, I picked him to beat Khalil Rountree, made a fucking video about that. I'm sorry. And the point is, I do rate him at times. I do think that his boxing can be good, and I do think that he's going to obviously hit much harder than a guy like Whittaker, but I think that he could be so simplistic or slow or can be plodding there, man, and he can let these rounds just slip away from him, man. Like, he could be very hittable. He could be poor defensively. He kind of lacks head movement and speed and footwork, and the point is, these are things that Whittaker excels at. So while I would pick Hill to beat a lot of the guys outside of the top 10 for light heavyweight, while I would pick him to beat pretty much a lot of people unranked for light heavyweight, for Whittaker moving up a weight class who's dealt with everybody in a half from the highest to lowest level at welterweight, at middleweight, like I feel like Whittaker would just be too fast, too fluid, and would just do a good job, like these light heavyweights are already doing, of just being one step ahead of Hill on the scorecards. And listen, when he's getting in the pocket with a guy like Hill, he should be concerned about the size and power difference. But I really think that Whittaker would just be, like, the speed differential I feel like would be so apparent. The skill for skill difference I feel like would be so there. And I feel like Whittaker has so many weapons to get it done. He obviously, I feel like, would just beat him in that pure strike and battle here. But he would just have to avoid getting KO'd. And I know it sounds way easier said than done, because I feel like Jamahal Hill could do that. But I can't even put Hill in the KO threat tier, because even though he is a former champion, even though he is purely a good striker, I just think that's for the heavier weight classes. And I think Whittaker, man, that 20 pounds difference and the level of competition that these two have fought is just drastically different. Like, don't get me wrong, the guys that Hill is losing to are very, very good, but I think Whittaker is that good. He's just a more well-rounded fighter. He's beating better guys, man. Even when he's losing, he's just kind of getting caught, or he's just getting choked out by elite enough guys who are just the fucking men, like a Hamzat or DDP or whoever, running fucking middleweight. So I'm not trying to make a whole rant about this. It's just Jamahal Hill, but Jesus Christ, I rate Jamahal solidly, but I really think that Whittaker is just a clearly better fighter here. And this is one of these examples to where it would be a great way for Whittaker to just slam his way on into that top 7, bro, okay? So overall, I think Whittaker beats him, with all due respect to Jamahal Hill. Moving on next to number 6, Azamat Murzakanov. This one's AI, bro. This one's AI. I'm putting this in the 50-50 tier. Now we're starting to get up to like the heavier ranked guys, and the matchups are getting a little bit more concerning for me. I don't even know what I have to say about this one besides Murzakanov is just too hard hitting enough. A bit too much plot armor hidden behind that big old belly of his to where I am a bit worried about him versus Whittaker. I would say it's a 50-50 fight in my mind. Like, I really would not be confident in doubting Whittaker because I'm picking Paulo Costa to beat Azamat Murzakanov. That's a fucking spoiler. That might end up being one of my dumbest picks of the entire year or my entire lifetime, but listen, if I'm going with Costa to do it and I rate Whittaker to be much better than Costa, then obviously, I mean, they fought and Whittaker beat him. But obviously, I just think that Murzakanov has that KO threat. Murzakanov could KO both those guys. And I'm not trying to seem hypocritical by just making it seem like, oh my God, I'm more concerned for Whittaker. But I'm more concerned about the chin of Whittaker than I am about the chin of Costa. And when you're moving up to light heavyweight, listen, I understand that I keep saying skill for skill, Whittaker's better than a lot of these guys, but there's a point to where the power just becomes too much, the plottiness just becomes too much, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure this is Shamil Gaziev just hidden inside another Shamil Gaziev, pretending to be fucking 2-1 like two kids trying to sneak into a movie theater, you know what I'm saying? That's all Azamat Murzakanov I think is right now, you know? But he definitely has that kind of power, bro. He definitely has. I mean, there's a reason why he's in the top 6, and I do rate knocking out Rakic pretty fucking clean with one of the first shots he really started to get going in that first round, you know what I mean? So overall, I think Murzakanov makes this a 50-50 fight just based on the power, man. What he does very well, and then he hits really fucking hard, okay? So I'm going to say Murzakanov versus Whittaker's 50-50. Moving on next to Jan Blachowicz here at number 5. I'm going to say that Blachowicz versus Whittaker, I think that Whittaker beats him, to be honest. Like, Blachowicz does have a KO threat. He does hit solidly hard. Like, you know, he was able to rock Guskov pretty efficiently a couple of times in their fight. But when's the last time that Blachowicz really just, like, KO'd somebody, man? It's been a long time, and even though he'll always be one of the most devastating leg kickers in the game, even though he is the guy that beat Adesanya, even though he is the guy that is well-rounded in his own right and has these losses he's experiencing only being to the best of the best, and they're all very close decisions that could arguably go his way. Like, I rate Blachowicz very highly, but at the end of the day, I just don't know if he's at this prime stage to beat a Whittaker. Like, he's already kind of looking slow in there, and like he's almost kind of one step behind-ish. You could tell to the point to where if it's a prime Blachowicz would be winning. He would be faster. He would be able to get that TKO or just carry away to a clearer win. But the fact that it's a Blachowicz lacking momentum, Blachowicz on a 4-fight losing streak, Blachowicz that's just like 42 years old, all due respect to the man, bro. That's the part to where it makes it a bit more competitive. Like a prime Blachowicz, I would pick to beat a prime Whittaker. I'm going to be honest. I think that the heavier man would just be too much. Like if he's able to shut down Adesanya, a prime Adesanya that efficiently, who's pretty much neck and neck in skill or just a little bit above than a Whittaker, like then there you fucking go. You know what I'm saying? So I think that this Blachowicz, though, I just think that Whittaker would be too fast, bro. Like, too fast. And I think that speed and that being one step ahead will just be there, man. Like, Blachowicz clearly is going to hit harder. Like, he was a champ for a fucking reason. Beyond just that, he's a good athlete for light heavyweight especially. But, man, I just think that Whittaker at this stage in the game would be able to beat him. You know what I mean? Moving on now to number 4 and Khalil Rountree Jr. This is a close fight, to be honest. Like, the pure Muay Thai style of Khalil, I feel like would just be pretty dangerous for Whittaker. Like, Khalil has a lot of weapons to get it done. Khalil's pretty versatile on the feet. He's literally muscle man himself up there. You know who else used to weigh 300 pounds, bro? My point is, Khalil Rountree, I think could present a lot of problems to him, but I'm not necessarily like extremely worried because Khalil in his own right is one of these guys who likes to get very technical and likes to kind of feed in the tit for tat battle. Like he doesn't exactly like to apply such a heavy pressure or really just force the KO. They kind of just come. I feel like he likes to just stick to the basic and likes to just tee off and get his shots going without actually like forcing any big shots, but they just come anyways because the guy is built like just a literal fucking brick shit house. Like the guy can still have that kind of power generated at any time in the fight. And with that, man, I think that Khalil does have the KO threat, but I don't know, man. I still would honestly be able to pick Whittaker in my mind to beat Khalil. I rate Khalil solidly, but I also think there's a lot of light heavyweights that could get the better of him. You know what I mean? I don't think Khalil is anything invincible. Like I think Khalil's good. I think he's got a lot of weapons, and I think he's dangerous, but he's one of these guys where I'm questioning how he's even ranked 4 to begin with. And I know that there's a decent amount of light heavyweights that could probably take him out, even though I do rate his pure Muay Thai pretty damn well. Like, Khalil could definitely get this one done. He has the KO threat, but I don't think it's just like 50-50 in my mind, you know? I'm more like 60-40 and going with Whittaker, you know? So I'm trusting Whittaker to be able to get the better of Khalil here. Maybe that's a hot take, bro. I don't know, man. I'm sure a lot of people would pick Khalil. I'm sure they would say he'd be too much, too powerful, too fucking explosive, too aura farming, but Hey, Whittaker's got a couple edits in his own right, okay? I live here, brother! I live here, brother! Like, come on now, bro. Come the fuck on now. Look at me bringing edits into it as part of my as part of my logic of putting him over Khalil. I'm sorry, bro. Moving on now to the top 3, and this is where it's not really looking good for Whittaker. I gotta be honest, okay? I've been praising and glazing in this video, but I gotta be honest, this is where it gets worrisome, okay? Carlos Ulberg, I mean, a lot of people like to shun him, but I gotta be honest, this is a very 50-50 fight for me. If not, I'm tempted to say he beats Whittaker. But I don't know, man. Carlos Ulberg in his own right can kind of be stuck in just being a bit too strategic, a bit too patient and composed, and just trying to go for a jab-for-jab battle. But overall, man, when Ulberg wants to just spark you out, I mean, like he did against a lot of the guys on the come up and like he did against Reyes. But Reyes is a guy who literally is just kind of pressure. And Ulberg is such a counter striker to the point to where that KO seemed like it was just seemingly set up for him. You know what I'm saying? It sucked to see, but Ulberg has that kind of power to KO anybody. I think it just depends on the different kind of style of opponent. Because when you see him facing Oezdemir or Blachowicz, he's not able to take him out of there. They're either too durable or just good enough to avoid being chinned. Like, you know what I mean? They're not just these guys that just rush into big shots. And I think that Whittaker isn't that. Whittaker's a very smart fighter. Whittaker's composed. But I just think the size difference might show here. Like, I feel like Ulberg could catch Whittaker rushing in. If Whittaker's the one that really is set on setting the pace for this fight, I could see that backfiring on him here. You know, like, Ulberg's the guy that's a great counter striker, somebody that's great on the back foot, somebody that's great at having that knockout power rounds 1 through 3. And Whittaker's kind of chinning, as I've said multiple times. So it is one of these matchups where Ulberg is a bit of a decision merchant at times. Like, when he wants to go to the fucking distance and just cruise to a bit of a safe win, like, he can fucking do that, as we've seen, okay? And it's not exactly the most fun to watch at times while doing it, but the point is, this would be one of these fights where it's a solid scrap. They're going at a solid pace. They're kind of going in a pretty neck and neck kind of battle. I feel like this fight would just be close rounds 1 through 3. And I don't know, it would just be up to Ulberg to either get that big KO decisive blow or have that threat, or it would be up to Whittaker to just, it would be on him to just get more offense going. But I just don't really know how this fight would go. I don't know how it would go. It's 50-50 in my mind. It would be dangerous for Whittaker though. Maybe I'd go with Ulberg, maybe I'd go with Whittaker. I'm rooting for Whittaker, but apparently they're mates now. Apparently they're training buddies. They said they'd never fight anyways, but we'll see how that would go. But I don't know who I'd lean with. This is 50-50 in my mind, man. I'm sure there's a lot of arguments for both ways, but I think that's the fucking point, you know? Moving on now to Jiri Prochazka here. Let's go for that. I gotta say he beats Whittaker. Like, this is pretty much like the 1 of 2 on here where I gotta be honest, I'm pretty just confident, just straight up confident, even though it kind of hurts me. I'm very confident in a way that I think Jiri Prochazka would just stun on him, bro. I think Jiri Prochazka would get that KO. Like, Jiri Prochazka is just, not even me getting all Joe Rogan. He's too big. He's too fucking large. He's King Kong in there. I just think Jiri is just way too dangerous the entire fucking time. He is such a good pressure fighter. He is so powerful. He is so unorthodox. He has so many weapons. He's well-rounded in his own right. He's so hard to predict. He's got very bizarre timing, but he's so fucking effective with everything, man. And I feel like he's even improving on the head movement and like the defensiveness overall, to the point to where I really could see Prochazka just getting that round 1, round 2, or round 3 KO. This fight would definitely not go to the distance, and that's just all because of Jiri. Jiri will just not fucking allow that shit. And I think Whittaker is no different. Not only is Whittaker already kind of chinny, I think Jiri is just so good. Even if he's down the entire fight, he will find a way to knock somebody out. And I could just clearly see, even if it's a 10-round fight, Whittaker winning rounds 1 through 9, and Prochazka just saying, I think fucking not. I bring him back to my village. And then he just fucking knocks him out in round 10. You know what I'm saying? Up to the last second. So overall, I would go with Jiri Prochazka here to beat Whittaker. And moving on to number 1, Big Ank. This one's a 50-50 in my mind. Magomed Ankalaev is a guy to where I don't know if he would just have his way in the wrestling. I don't know if he would just be able to just get that KO blow. I don't know if he'd be able to just completely outstrike him for 3 or 5 rounds. And I think that Whittaker would definitely have a chance here. This is a 50-50 fight in my mind. I think that, listen, Ankalaev is kind of going to big bro him. He's kind of going to just hunch over him. He's going to have that height and reach advantage here, at least off the top of my mind. But, like, listen, if Ankalaev is just going neck and neck and height with fucking big old Pereira, who we're about to get to, like, yeah, okay, I feel like he's going to be able to hunch a bit over Whittaker off the top of my goddamn head. But the point is, I think that just in a pure skill for skill battle here. I actually don't know who would win. I think that Big Ank's finishing ability is so on and off that sometimes you could rely on it, and sometimes you could rely more on a shit to fall out the sky than rain. You know what I'm saying? Than actually getting Big Ank to get some kind of KO when he should, because then you get some kind of slow 29-28 decision a lot of the time. You know, it's very hit or miss. And I feel like the reason I'm putting so much emphasis on can Big Ank KO him is because I think the power differential is going to be that his biggest path to victory here, because in terms of just fighter for fighter, skill for skill, wrestling for wrestling, striker for striking, cardio for cardio, fight IQ for fight IQ, team for team, whatever the fuck you want to say, I really think that Whittaker is the better fighter here, okay? He's got the lighter man skill, and I think that he will be able to make it pretty competitive against Big Ankalaev here, to the point to where I think it's a 50-50 fight. I can see Big Ank winning. He definitely has some advantages in a lot of different regards, but I think Whittaker is just the better fighter, to be motherfucking honest. I think it's a 50-50 fight. And moving on now to Alex Pereira. How would this one go, bro? How would this one fucking go? It's looking tough for Whittaker, bro. I think that Pereira beats Whittaker, man. I think a round 1 KO. Pereira just hits so hard. He's one of the best kickboxers we've ever motherfucking seen. And he has some of the most devastating power and aura farming we've ever seen, man. Like, it's a really rough matchup for Whittaker. Whittaker ain't going to be able to get the fucking wrestling going. Whittaker ain't going to be able to just, I feel like, survive for 3 to 5 rounds, dude. Like, Pereira would just find that one left hook, and that's enough. That's enough. Like, Whittaker could be teeing off with hundreds of shots, and all it takes is one from Pereira, dude. He would be too big, too rangy, too hard-hitting, bro. Like Whittaker respectfully has more weapons, but I don't think the weapons matter when Pereira is just that literal human tank that could just sit on all of them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going with Pereira to beat Whittaker. It hurts, but not really. It's pretty, seemingly, it's a really rough matchup for Whittaker, man. But this is it. This is the tier list. Let me know what you guys think when I'm kind of looking at it. It seems like I think there's a lot of matchups where Whittaker could win, and it's just kind of that KO threat. We all say that he is chinny, but will the chin get better at light heavyweight? And even then, like, it's really not like he's getting rocked too frequently, or it's not like he's getting knocked out too much. He's able to win most of the goddamn time because he's that good of a fighter. Even if he is chinny, man, he's good enough, especially defensively, to where he's able to get these wins. And I think at light heavyweight, it seems like a very scary division for him, but I just think his skill for skill betterness, what kind of sense is that? What? The fact that I think he's just going to bring up that lighter man skill, bro, I think it's really going to help him here. Like, I rate Whittaker as it clearly fucking shows, but maybe I'm being biased, maybe I'm not biased. I'm not even like a huge Whittaker stan or whatever, but let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know where you agree or disagree with this video. Let me know where I put him too high or too low, whatever the fuck, okay? Appreciate y'all a lot for making this far in the video. Have a good time watching the Apex card tonight, and I'm probably doing a fight companion for it, so I'll hopefully see y'all there, but if not, enjoy the card regardless, man, and I appreciate y'all. Thank you so very much for watching. Let me know what you think. See y'all later.